welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to be drawing a galaxy mermaid. What is that, you say? Well, you'll have to watch the video and find out.
Okay, so I did this painting as part of Tom Bancroft's Mermay challenge. It's basically where you draw or paint or create a mermaid for every day in the month of May. I've participated in this drawing challenge before, but I don't think I've ever actually drawn a mermaid every single day in the month of May. But I have done this challenge before. There was one year I actually did a story about a mermaid. That was cool. But anyway, this year I decided just to do, a basic illustration. But I was thinking about ideas of what I wanted to do, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have this mermaid in, like, space? Because I thought, cold, like, space is cold and dark and doesn't have oxygen, and the ocean is cold and dark and doesn't have oxygen. And then I thought, like, galaxies are so cool. What if they were actually these, like, ethereal, like, giant ethereal mermaids? It was a really kind of weird idea, but I don't know, it made sense to me, and I thought it would be cool to try out. So here I go, sketching out this mermaid pose. I practiced this ahead of time off camera to make sure that I had it all figured out, so that by the time I was drawing it, I like really knew what I was doing, had the proper measurements. And I'm sorry that my hand is in the way of so much of this footage. I was trying out a new like camera layout and it didn't work out the best, so I kind of had to do the best I could with what I did. But yeah, so I sketched out this pose, and the interesting thing about this particular pose is that when I was looking at actual photos of galaxies for inspiration, I found this one, I think it was of the antenna galaxy, but it had, to me, looking at the form and shape of it, it looked like there could be this mermaid like in it with her back arched and her hair kind of like flying up over her head, and I thought, oh, that's perfect. I know, like, I could just see the pose in there, so I used that as inspiration for this painting. So after I sketched out the pose, I started blocking in the colors. I'm actually using the pink I'm using here. Was actually a sample I got from Beam Paint. I've been ordering more paint from them. I love them. But yeah, they sent me this little sample card of this pink and it turned out perfect. Okay, and here's where I try to get my palette into the camera footage. No, it doesn't work out. I also added orange, which was risky, but I think it worked out really well. Like, it could have been really muddy and made everything terrible, but I think it created the right amount of contrast to the, like, blues and pinks and purple. Anyway, so, yeah, this pink paint from Beam was a huge lifesaver for this particular painting. So yeah, I did the sketch and then I put the watercolor in next. Usually when I do a sketch, I will ink it and then put watercolor in, but this time I wanted to make sure that I kept the kind of light ethereal quality in the illustration and like didn't totally make it too heavy-handed with ink too early on. So I did the watercolor first, and here I am adding the dark of space with this sort of mix of dark blue and dark brown. That's usually how I do blacks. When I paint with watercolor, I don't use like pure black watercolor paint because I feel that will kind of deaden the color palette overall. It's just kind of a personal preference. Although this ended up not being dark enough, even though I layered it a whole bunch of times. So later on, I go in with this dark blue that I also got from Beam, and it worked out perfectly. Like, it was so good. So that was very fortunate. Beam has really come through for me on this painting. So a word about painting galaxies. They are really a marathon. You just have to be patient. You just have to keep working. You have to keep trying, because there is inevitably going to be a stage where the whole thing looks like a hot mess. And you're going to think, like, will this ever turn out? And really, I mean, part of it is that you're painting something that has a very, nebulous shape. And trying to get that to translate well into something that looks like an actual galaxy and not just a chaotic blob of colors is really quite difficult. But a lot of it just involves like layering your dark colors, getting the right amount of contrast, blending in so that you have the right amount of like light elements and like gradients, but then really dark contrasts, and just a lot of working and patience and trying. And this was definitely the point in the painting where I was like, I don't even know, I'm not sure. I couldn't add the stars in yet because it wasn't like, it just wasn't dark, the background wasn't dark enough. So I was definitely kind of discouraged. But I kept going, I kept pushing through, and in the end, it turned out so good. So I'm gonna be quiet and let you enjoy the rest of this video.